The Carl Nelson Show on 1450 and 95.9. Worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
And thanks for joining us, family. We hope you had an enjoyable weekend. Later, businesswoman, activist, author, and strategist Gerald Santos will explain what the Biden infrastructure plan has for Black America. And Gerald will also talk about ramifications of the last election and what Democrats have to do before the midterm elections. But to get us started, financial advisor J.B. Bryan. J.B., welcome back to WOL Radio.
It's great to be back at WOL Radio. Thank you, Carl, for the opportunity. I heard you talking about all of these exciting things going on in the American economy. We got to get it all in. Get it all in.
Yeah, last Friday we had the unemployment rate, and I know people in the administration were happy about that. But read into those figures for us, because people are still saying they can't find jobs. And the other side, people are saying this, the jobs are in abundance. What's going on?
Yeah, I think that looks like the jobs are in particular niches, like almost 7% of the new jobs came in transportation, sightseeing, so we really have to think about, do we have interest in our community in the industries that are hiring, and have you ever considered these industries? But there's also transportation. Ground transportation is up almost 4%. The motion picture industry, I know we want opportunities in that. We got to go down to Atlanta and talk to Tyler Perry about hiring, getting that job you've always wanted. But in manufacturing vehicles, that's up. Again, performing arts, spectator sports, those industries are quite a niche though. And are we in those areas? And I remember when this first happened and they started cutting back in service industries where we dominated a lot in waitressing and in hotel services and food services and childcare even. And we haven't gained those jobs back. So I think that one of the top 10 things I want to make sure that I share is that we focus on getting re-skilled, retrained, enhancing our abilities, and looking forward at things that we always dreamed about doing. Now is the time to think about doing them, because there are some opportunities and things that you thought might have been outside of your reach. Now it's time to consider doing something new. I think that we are so quick to just think, well, we have to, because it's what we've always done, we have to always do it. I challenge each of us to learn something new and investigate new job opportunities.
Yeah, where we should be looking, JB?
I think that we just need to focus on what we really truly want to do. And again, I always appreciate this opportunity to share how important entrepreneurship is for us, because I think that I'm speaking with one of the members of Afro Economics before we started this discussion. He owns his own, Mr. Wynn in Texas, owns his own trucking company. And he was talking about these ideas that he has. And I said, a couple of years ago when you were driving for someone else, you didn't think about all of these things that you think about. And he said, I know, I was thinking about that myself. Like his imagination is huge. And I challenge us to open our imaginations and to get into proximity. And every time that I share with you, I want to make sure I have top 10 things that I want to share. And my number one today is that there's power in proximity. And that means if there's a particular job that you want to do, get close to it. Get close to people that do that. Get close to people in that field. Start looking at, don't just look at TikTok. Look at TikTok that is connected to what you want to do. Look at YouTube videos connected to what you want to do. You have to reach out and create opportunities now. I think that a lot of people are out of work because they don't want to just work. They really want to establish a career, especially the research that I've seen in Generation Z, those young folk that are in their late teens and 20s now. They actually are creating businesses immediately right out of high school. They want to, they're using their imagination and looking for the opportunities to do what they've always dreamed about doing. And I think that older people need to consider doing that too. Don't feel that you're only out of work because you're allowing yourself to be out of work. Change your position. Get into proximity of the people that are in places that you want to be.
All right. We got some tweets for you, and we got some calls already. Let me take one of the quick tweets first because this is
Mhm,
interesting. These
mhm.
ashes guessed about robot waiters and its impact on the economy. And she goes on to say that a Florida restaurant got a robot waiter, and all of a sudden the tip spiked.
Wow. That's crazy. It's definitely something new. People like things that are new, but that is amazing that they're tipping a machine or that the restaurant would put a tip for a machine or that people would put tip a machine. The least that they could do is make sure that that goes to charity or something. But I think that the future is definitely in technology, and billionaires are being made out of creating apps and machines that can make business continue to be possible. So I do again think that that's a great example of using your imagination, and I do feel that um, we have learned through this pandemic that being in food services does expose you to risks that that waitresses and waiters never really considered before, but they're around a lot of people. So the robot does reduce the risk of anything getting on your food in addition to the people in the kitchen. So I think there is a market there. It's working obviously. And but the tip part, if I were there, I would wonder, what are you going to do with the tip? Do you really think that that's appropriate? You could at least help the homeless or something. So make sure it's given
Uh,
back.
Before we go to the call, explain to us briefly why in this pandemic and with the economy contracting, why did the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? What happened there?
Someone asked that.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions. I think that we watch the news and we truly believe that everybody rich got richer and everyone poor got poorer. That's not necessarily true because I think everybody knows one person that was real poor and then all of a sudden didn't have to pay their rent and started getting extra money every week, and they actually was in a better financial position a year into COVID and was on social media taking pictures and going on trips and going to casinos and having a good time. So there were some rich people that got richer, but some poor people who actually were in a position to make their life better. What each of them did with that, we will see. But I think that I remember at the beginning when I encouraged everyone that if you get a stimulus check, make sure that you're saving that. If you don't need it, make sure that you're saving that because everyone needs to have an emergency fund. And now I heard on our radio stations, they're running commercials asking people in public housing to catch up their rent so that they can get the subsidy to continue for next year. You know, the so no everyone, poor now may feel poorer, but it's a lot of it's from some really bad choices, we have to admit, because I know even for myself, if I had tried to take care of life as usual in COVID as an entrepreneur, that would have been an extremely bad decision on my part. I had to face it as I'm not going to go into debt. I'm going to tighten up and I'm not going to take advantage of every opportunity that is thrown out in front of me. Your greatest amount of discipline as a rich person or as a poor person, your discipline has to come out during times of challenge. So, but I don't believe that everybody everybody rich got richer. Some rich people lost their entire life savings, lost their businesses and everything.
All right. As I mentioned, guys, folks want to speak with you. 800-450-7876. Weeta's calling from Georgia on line 2. Weeta, you're on with JB.
Yes, good afternoon, and thanks for taking my call. JB, I have a question for you as it relates to investment advisement.
Okay.
So if someone is interested in commodities, or let's just say precious metals, like the purchase of gold and silver, how is that to be incorporated into your investment portfolio? What's your advice as it relates to that kind of thing? I keep hearing, gold, silver, and the purchase of those items are good for refuge, perhaps. But if someone wanted to incorporate that into their investment portfolio, what's your recommendation as an advisor?
Well, first, a good investment advisor is going to find out what your risk tolerance is. So if the person has a very high risk tolerance and the exposure to the gold and silver can still stay within their risk tolerance level, then it's great. Gaining a position in gold, silver
right
is
there, JB. We got to take a short break. And stay with us as well, Weeta, for the follow-up question if you have one. 800-450-7876. You got a question about finances, reach out to JB, and we'll take your calls after the short break on FM 95.9 AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Several incidents in the D.C. area. This check on traffic is sponsored by Transurban. On November 17th, drive to donate for every dollar collected in tolls on the 395 express lanes from 6 to 9 a.m. A dollar goes to local nonprofits. Head to expresslanes.com. A message from Transurban. We're in very bad shape on DC 295 for drivers trying to make your way into PG County with an accident blocking two of your right lanes right at Eastern Avenue. That's also right at the DC Maryland line. It is a complete parking lot for you from the 11th Street Bridge northbound. You'll want to avoid that if at all possible. Delays are also building on the Southeast Southwest Freeway eastbound due to this incident. Luggage from the Navy Yard approaching the 11th Street Bridge and over the Anacostia River due to that incident. Also, 3rd Street Tunnel jam northbound, very slow for you with backups approaching New York Avenue. I'm Taryn Galbraith for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
True Crime Monday on TV1.
She was deeply in love with him.
They want to believe it's going to get better.
He had a dark side.
It just gets worse.
She had to fight for her life.
Fatal Attraction at 9. Then,
I didn't suspect that he was a straight-out killer demon.
For My Man at 10.
I knew I was in trouble.
True Crime Monday. Tonight with an all-new Fatal Attraction at 9. Followed by an all-new For My Man at 10 on TV1.
Be sure to tune in to Law Talk with attorney Ethel Mitchell this Saturday morning from 8:30 a.m. until 10. It's 90 minutes of great information on wills and trusts. Are you prepared? Not sure? Let attorney Ethel Mitchell help you get prepared this Saturday morning beginning at 8:30 a.m. To reach attorney Mitchell, you may do so by calling 240-638-2828 or log on to lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com.
If you think dangerous blood clots can't happen to you, think again. Up to 900,000 men, women, and children are affected by blood clots each year, and about 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. Major risks for blood clots include a family or personal history of blood clots, a recent hospitalization or surgery, pregnancy and cancer and its treatments. Symptoms of a blood clot in the legs or arms can include pain, swelling, and skin that is warm to the touch, red, or discolored. Symptoms of blood clots in the lungs include difficulty breathing, chest pain that worsens with a deep breath, or a cough, coughing up blood, and a faster than normal or irregular heartbeat. Speak with a doctor about your risk for blood clots and seek medical attention if you have any symptoms. On average, one person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Stop the clot. Spread the word. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
The Carl Nelson Show, now available on iTunes.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. I guess his financial advisor, J.B. Bryan, you'd like to speak to. You got a question about finances, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. We'd like to speaking with Weta, calling from Georgia. J.B., before you finish answering, are you broadcasting on Facebook? Can people see you? Can they check in there as well?
Yes, indeed. Definitely.
Good.
Yes, indeed.
How do they do that? Just tell folks there.
Definitely. Oh, definitely go to J.B. Bryan or Afro Economics with J.B. Bryan. It's on there as well. And YouTube, Afro Economics as well. It says Carl J.B. Bryan or J.B. on the Carl Nelson Show. It's streaming live. It is indeed. They can hear you. They can hear you and every word.
All right, cool. So
Yes.
I'll let you finish responding to Weta's question.
Yeah, Weta was. Thank you. Weta was referring to like if you want something in your portfolio, should your registered investment advisor, can they help you? And that's their job to help you. It is their job to, as a registered investment advisor, to first of all, you have to make sure that you have a registered investment advisor on your team, because sometimes people don't put you into investments because their licenses don't allow them to. So you first have to find out what are they allowed to do. Fortunately, as a registered investment advisory firm, we can make a position in those items, Weta. So we would just have to do a check on, is it appropriate for you? Because that's the responsibility that your investment advisor has. Is this appropriate for the investor? Because we're legally bound to making sure whatever we do is in your best interest. So we're challenged to, if you want to do something, but it's inappropriate, then we have to be woman or man enough to say, I'm not comfortable doing that for you, so that you can go somewhere else and do it. But if it's appropriate for you, you understand the risk involved and things like that, yeah, it should be in your portfolio. But but you just communicate. Make sure you're working with someone that you communicate with well, and they actually are capable of doing that. If they, are an insurance agent, then they're not going to be able to set up that investment portfolio for you the way you want. But they, so just check it out. Ask all the ask questions. Just ask questions. If you ever find yourself in a situation and you're asking questions and the financial advisor doesn't want to answer your questions, you're not working with the right person. And there's also FINRA, FINRA. You can also find out what type of licenses the financial advisor has as well. So if they're licensed, then FINRA will have information, as well as the Securities Exchange Commission, another option. But good question.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Weta. All right. As I mentioned, I got a tweet from Rick. And Rick, let me read. Rick says he won a $30,000 settlement in a car accident. That's net, $30,000 net. I want to know what to do with it. What's the best way he can invest it?
Great question. Because yesterday someone asked me the exact same question. It must have been Saturday. A client that's in the insurance business, and she was asking about what should she do because she has a person who has $20,000. Should they call me? And I said, well, I would need to know more about their situation. So then I said, what is their situation? And then she went on to say that they're disabled and they get SSI and they might lose their benefits if they invest the money, so things get really, really complicated. And that's why the government tells licensed people like me, never give out advice. You have to know the person, because what I say does matter. So I say to you that I hope that you heal and do very well, and that their payment, you know, is a part of your healing. But be very careful on what you do. And my advice in that situation where the lady was on SSI and scared she was going to lose her benefits, I said, pay off all of her bills. Pay off. She should not have any debt. And sometimes people will have credit cards and everything, and then they come into the settlement and they don't want to pay off their credit cards. And it's like, no, pay off the credit cards, pay off the car, pay off the debts, because you have this guaranteed income that you may lose, and also speak with them about the settlement. They might find out that if it's a lawsuit settlement, you may be able to keep it if it's a settlement under a certain amount. So sometimes we're afraid and it's not even appropriate. But I would say in any situation is always best to get rid of your debts. Get rid of the debts.
All right. And Rick just further tweeted, and he says, should he take it in installments or should he take the lump sum?
He should call me. Look, he should call so that I could get additional details and help him through that, or speak with his financial advisor about it. It's valid questions, but it really more details need to be shared. The answer to that is it depends. It depends.
It depends?
It depends. It depends on your situation. So he would have to call in and tell us all his business, and then I could give a better answer.
All right. Well, let's give out your information now then.
That's right. 1-844-JBBRYAN. 1-844-JB Bryan. That's 1-844-522-7926. Just, give me a call and just say you called from the Carl Nelson Show and that you have this quick question. That's what, but that's about the Afro Economics membership is really about that. Like getting yourself into a position where you have a financial advisor that knows you. And I think that sometimes you take for granted the need for a financial advisor. So we just live through our life and we think that's something that only rich people do. And then that's why I did that Afro Economics membership, because having a financial advisor, a licensed financial advisor that has to work in your best interest is a blessing. It can be, you get the right one. So check it out.
Another tweeter says, ask your guest, can she assist in purchasing cryptocurrency?
I don't think anybody can. I think that cryptocurrency is purchased through the Coinbase or something like that. But I do provide advice to my clients on whether or not cryptocurrency is best for their goals. But it is not traded on the stock exchanges. I am regulated, so I only work with actual investments. Like cryptocurrency is a currency. It is not an investment tool. It's an asset class. And that's a big challenge for a lot of people to kind of see the difference. But it is not traded on the exchanges. Not yet. Yeah. Maybe it will one day.
Yeah, probably will. You wanted also to tell some of the folks who are on Social Security. I know some of them are looking forward to getting a little bump because of the cost of living increase next year. You had some advice or some tips for folks who are on Social Security, JB?
Yeah, definitely. Because, well, overall, that 5.9, I think it's kind of overreacting if you get excited about it. So I really want us to stay calm. It's a 5.9% raise, but over, it's the last time you got a raise that big was like in the 1980s. It was like 7%. So for the last 20 plus years, like what you've been getting like these little skimpy little, raises. Like this is, so it is not this. COLA, they call it the cost of living adjustment, really has not appropriately been adjusted. And this is trying to, make up for some, but with inflation, especially with the cost of healthcare and then the cost of the housing being up so dramatically, this 5.9 for seniors, is not enough. And think about when you get this they tell you, oh, your Medicare, it's not going to cost you anything this year, and then you go and you find out that your out of pocket is 10,000 or 20,000, or one member told me that her out of pocket for a surgery is $40,000. I didn't even know that was possible on Medicare, that you could actually owe that much. And that was just a couple weeks ago. I gotta call her and ask her, like, are you sure? Because I asked her to check again. The that's amazing numbers. So that with a 5.9% raise, but then you're spending more out of pocket for your health care than ever, come on. So be careful with your spending. Make sure that you would adjust to buy things less, especially as we approach the holidays. Like, sometimes we feel like we have to have, or we need these things, or we got it. Like, I looked at some research one time and it said that seniors spend, especially Black seniors, spend more than any other demographic. Black people spend on their grandkids more money than anyone else. We're spending a lot of money. So you're taking, a big percentage of your check possibly and spending it on your grandkids. You're going to have to adjust that with the cost of things going up. So as you're approaching these holidays, let's get, more holistic, bake some cookies or something. But this is, these are some challenging times. And when you're on fixed income, you have to be honest with yourself. And then
hold that thought right there. Hold that thought right there, JB. I'll let you finish your thought on the other side. Folks, you've got a question about finances, reach out to us. 800-450-7876 gets you in. And we'll take your phone calls after this quick break on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Too many people do everything right and still can't get ahead. It's time to change that. I'm Democrat Wes Moore. I'm running for governor because in this moment, these systemic challenges require generational change. I know what it's like to struggle. I lost my father when I was 3, and my life could have gone in a different direction. But thanks to my mom, I became the first Black Rhodes Scholar at Johns Hopkins and led soldiers as a captain in the U.S. Army. I built a successful business in Maryland and was CEO of one of the nation's largest anti-poverty nonprofits. I know how to bring people together around a bold vision. As governor, we will build a more equitable Maryland by increasing access to work, wages, and wealth, and ensure your children receive a quality education. We will build a Maryland that leaves nobody behind. That's what I'll fight for as governor. To learn more, visit westmore.com.
By authority, Wes Moore for Maryland. Lissa Muscatine, Treasurer.
The strength of America, our values, our way
Mr.
of
Wynn,
life,
they really can't be traded on Rob. That they can't be traded. You can purchase them there.
Compassion, service, and hope
to
those who need it most.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Walton.
The American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by
oh, that's so cool, Mr. Williams. Please subscribe.
Veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today.
Oh, watching it live. That's right.
From blood drives.
It's exciting to hear Carl on the video.
From responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable.
One day we'll all be in the same studio.
Is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore
I know y'all were over there making them comments.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
You are a wealth of knowledge.
The Carl Nelson Show on Alexa.
And thanks for rolling with us, folks. Our guest is financial advisor J.B. Bryant. He's got questions about money, how to hold on to it, how to keep it, how to stretch it. This is a lady you need to talk to. Hey, and you can use a different name. You don't want people to know your business. I understand that. That's why we get a lot of tweets. I understand that. But take advantage of her knowledge. Again, the number to call to speak to her, 800-450-7876. So, J.B., before the break, you were telling us about seniors and the Social Security.
Yeah, and even more on that, with Social Security, being that it is fixed income and they're going to give you these small raises each year if you're blessed, because there have been years where you got no raise. So then it makes it even more important that you have your investments on point. And if you have investment accounts and you become aggressive about pulling out more from your retirement accounts because the cost of things are going up, and you're like, oh, I usually spend 10,000 on Christmas, but this year I have to spend 20,000 because I want to buy my great grandchild a new car. So you have to take that out of your retirement account. Then those are the kind of hits that 20 years from now, when you're still alive and 20 years older, say you're in your hundreds at that point, because a lot of this inflation really is hitting people in their 80s the hardest, because people in their 80s have been retired for these 20 years and not getting the raises that they deserve. So their investments over these 20 years are even more important, and the 20 years going forward. And sometimes the seniors they get to a point where they go, it doesn't really matter. I hear it a lot, when people go, I'm just going to leave it sitting there because it doesn't really matter. They think they're going to die, and we all are going to die, but you don't know when. So when you're just letting the money sit there, you're pulling your future down and your ability to keep your standard of living up the where you want it to be. So we should be very careful. And when you have savings and you have investments as a senior, you need to be more conscious of proper asset classes. When you hear, because sometimes you'll do things because you're not taking your money seriously. So you'll go and take on crazy risk of something new or some new idea that came out, and then you can't get it out. And they tell you you can't have access to it for, 5 years, 10 years. One time I had a client who was in her 80s, and someone had come to her house and talked her into putting her money into something that she couldn't touch for 10 years. So I had to call the company and I go, do you really think that this is appropriate for an 80-something-year-old to not be able to touch their money for 10 years? Literally, it was 10 years. I was like, I didn't even know something like that existed. So
that's elder abuse.
Oh my goodness, it was. I had to write all of that in order for them to back out of it and to let her get her money back. But there is a lot, and we need to be very careful. And I don't care if you think this isn't a lot of money, so I don't have to worry about it. You do need to worry about it, because that is your future. And, death is not really something to worry about. If we want to worry, if you choose to worry, it would make more sense to worry about living. Because when you live, then you still have to eat. You have to maintain yourself. So that's what we should be putting our energy on, living and having a standard of living that you want. So we have to be good managers over every single dime, every dime.
Right. Got a tweet for you from Terry in Baltimore, and he's retired, no children, and he's been hearing these commercials, he says, on reverse mortgages. So he wants to get your thoughts on reverse mortgages.
I mean, it could be right and it could be wrong. Look, Carl's like, you better not say depends again. But typically, the I would say the reverse mortgage is a bad idea. And there's ways around it. I have shown clients ways around it. If they're trying to get access to money, I have shown them ways around it, because reverse mortgages have a lot of internal fees and expenses. So you're not getting your equity back out dollar for dollar using the reverse mortgage. So we can go over different options of how to get access to your money without them robbing so much of your hard-earned equity from you.
Right. I think he pointed out that he has no children. I think that's interesting, JB, because, I guess he figures when he's out, he's out. He doesn't
But
have
you
anything
still,
to leave.
but because he
It's
doesn't
just
have
like-
children, he has more of a reason to make sure he gets all of his money because he has no children. So who's going to take care of you if you don't have money? So if you give them 20% of your home value in fees or more, I'm just saying hypothetically, on $1 million, that's $200,000 you just gave away. That could have fed you for at least 6 months, right? But 200,000, that's a lot of money. So if you don't have children, you have to even be more particular about, is this the best move for me? And you deserve to have a financial advisor that's outside of that situation, because the person that's going to get paid for you to buy that can't serve also as your unbiased advisor.
All right. Let me ask you this then. Should he just take out a line of credit and have a trip around the world and start spending his money? This has got nobody to leave it to.
Exactly. It could be a less expensive option once you look at the numbers. And it might say, that this, and it might even just be interest only, or he might even do better with the rates this low doing a whole 30-year fixed, you know what I mean, with a little teeny, payment, and he's got access to at least 80% of their, depending on the lender, they might let him get to 90% of his equity. But like you said, or if he just did a line, and just went into it as he needed it. But the thing about that, with interest rates expected to be going higher, he, might do better going ahead and locking in.
Right. Let's think about interest rates since we're there. Interest rates, what do you see in the future? You think they're going to go, you think they're going to wait till next year or first quarter of next year, or maybe even before the end of the year? How do you see interest rates?
It's anticipated that it would be next year or into the next. The closer we get to what they say, they go, oh, well, it'll be 2023, or it will be in 2022. Oh, it's 2024. But they're definitely making moves that are going to cause our interest rates to slowly, begin to move back up. And there's some good there. We I think that we need, you think about how much that you lose as far as a saver and investor with interest rates this low. Nobody's making any money, that makes it very hard for the conservative person, to make any earnings when interest rates are being forced down like this. So there's always some good and some bad, but in my opinion, you always want to be, if you can, on the side of the investor. Try to avoid debt. And I will repeat that over and over. I want to say that 10 more times before we stop talking, that your year-end plan has to be, do not accumulate any more debt. I know it feels good, and I know they're pushing money at us, but I'm telling you, don't believe the hype. Avoid the debt. But that's not for the guy with the house, though. That's not for the guy with the house.
Right.
Not for him, not him.
They're pushing credit. And also I saw American Express advertising on TV. And I was like, wait, I've never seen American Express advertised on TV. What's going on here? Are they trying to get people to sign up for these for credit? Is credit that cheap these days?
Oh, yes.
American Express Platinum.
Oh, yes. And during COVID, the average credit scores went up 50 points or whatever. It was over 700 or something. But people, unfortunately we're talking about overall, so I'm not just pulling out our community numbers, but that most people stopped, going into debt. They stopped spending during COVID. Now, I didn't see that enough with us.
Because that's an excellent point that you made. Hold on, right there. So most people stopped spending during COVID. the economy needs us to spend to get the economy
That's right.
rolling again. So
That's
and
why
they're
the
going to try to
credit.
get as much of us to spend our money as much as
That's
possible.
right. We're
And what
not.
do we do then?
Don't give in. Don't give in, because you're not getting the pay raises. You know what I'm saying? There are some people going back into the market getting some pay raises, but some of us who have always been working, you're not, having a dramatic increase in the income coming into the household, just like those on Social Security with 5.9, with the cost of everything else going up so much more than that. Even if you did get a raise at work, say it was a 4% raise, the price of groceries are up way over that. The price of a car is up way over that. The price of housing is way more than that. So your little raise is chewed up. So we cannot. So what happens is they go, well, their little raise is chewed up. Financial services is like, let's help them out. Send them. They have a job. You have a job. They want you to have a job. As long as you have a job, then you can pay out your entire check to these bills. And you'll spend.
What about housing? Is this a good time to buy real estate, or should you wait? Do you think the prices of real estate prices are going to go down anymore?
I think that real estate needs to be based on need. I think that as far as residential real estate for people purchasing, if you need a home, you need to purchase a home, period. It should be based on need. And if you're planning on being in that location for 5 years or longer.
JP, we got to take another short break, and I'll let you
Mhm.
expound on the real estate issue, because I know a lot of people, I know some people who are thinking about purchasing homes, and they keep asking about the interest rates, and I told them to listen to you. 800-450-7876. You can speak to JB directly by calling those numbers. We'll take your phone calls after the short break on FM 95.9, AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Our troops are the backbone of
This
America,
water is so
freedom
good.
fighters, protectors of our liberties.
It's crazy.
However, many veterans don't have jobs. If you're hiring,
If I had a
what's
whole
veteran
cup,
today?
it wouldn't be that
Hire
good.
smart. Hire a vet. This message is sponsored by Johnny's
I appreciate you all so much.
They're experts at what they do. So for all of your floral needs, call the ones who are sure to satisfy your floral
Don't forget Wednesday
needs.
night.
That's Johnny's Florist Incorporated at 2000 Georgia Avenue, Northwest in Washington. Dial 202-986-6006.
This report is sponsored by the Maryland Department of Health. COVID-19 boosters are available for eligible Marylanders. Visit covidlink.maryland.gov to learn more. Brought to you by the Maryland Department of Health. We have closures due to gas main repair in the district. You'll find Girard Street blocked in both directions, east and west, between 13th Street and 11th Street in both directions.
so sweet,
We're
Miss
still in terrible shape on DC 295 northbound. If you're trying to make your way from the district through to PG County, two of your right lanes still blocked with an accident at the Eastern Avenue interchange. Complete parking lot for you northbound from the 11th Street Bridge. You'll want to avoid that if at all possible. You'll also find stoppable lanes for congestion on Southeast Southwest Freeway at both east and west between Main Avenue and the 11th Street Bridge. 3rd Street Tunnel still jammed northbound, sluggish from D Street approaching New York Avenue, and also GW Parkway picking up delays very quickly. Sluggish southbound as you're passing Front Parkway. You'll be more stop and go with heavy volume as you're approaching Memorial Avenue. You'll want to be safe due to a possible incident. I'm Taryn Galbraith for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
So much to explore at Total Wine and More. Pinot Noirs, Grigiots, Champagnes, and Chardonnays, plus more than 2,500 beers and bourbon barrel-aged. Tequila, rum, scotch, and gin, vermouth that's extra dry. Hard seltzers and single malt, so many for you to try.
Now offering delivery in select markets. See details at TotalWine.com/delivery. Drink responsibly, B21.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you can't measure it on your bathroom scale. Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own. You won't find a bipolar disorder by looking at a thermometer. Like many other health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a stick-on bandage. So the sooner you seek treatment, the better. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call
San
1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Wow.
That's samhsa.gov/support.
Listen to the Carl Nelson Show now on our free mobile app.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is financial advisor J.B. Bryant. You got a question about finances, credit, inflation, that kind of stuff. Here's the lady you need to talk to. And again, I'm telling you, take advantage of her knowledge. You don't have to use your real name or city. We don't care. But, take advantage of her knowledge and call us up at 800-450-7876. Before we get back to her, though, at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by author and strategist Gerald Sanders. He's going to explain what's in the Biden infrastructure plan for Black America. Later this week, you're going to hear from Egyptologist Dr. Charles Finch, mystery man Mark from Anaheim, and also educator Dr. Kabi Kameni. So if you're in the DMV, keep your radio locked right here on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. All right, JB, back to the housing issue now, because this particular person is watching the interest rates. He's also seeing the prices of housing is just skyrocketing. So should he wait? Should he jump in? Or it doesn't seem like that.
And it really depends. It depends on where they are, because I have seen like some flattening, in some areas. But I do feel like we need to make sure that we don't get involved in the emotion of it. Like your friend, he might feel like, oh, I've got to get a house. And he, hasn't had a house for the last 2 years or 5 years. But then all of a sudden he's created this because of, he feels like there's this frenzy or because of what he sees on the news. And that's really dangerous when you make a long-term financial decision based on short-term emotions. Like you have to really evaluate, like, is this home purchase best for me? Do I want to be in this area for long enough so that I can make, if I am buying it too high, that I can come out ahead? Is this the most cost-effective way for me to live? Because, Carl, I must admit, there are a lot of people who waste their money on their residential real estate.
How so?
There, people who have a great big, say, 3,500 square foot house. They're all alone, and they put $100 of pay period into their 401k. Their company matches their 401k. So they're slowing down their financial future. They live by themselves, but because their mortgage is so big, they can only save $100 of pay period. If they had a reasonable mortgage, they could put, $1,000 a month, get a company match that would take them to, say, 2,000, even if it wasn't even that extreme. That would take them to $1,500 a month of savings. The market has outperformed, in most cases, residential real estate. So if they had the portfolio and they had an advisor, and the portfolio and the 401k was set up correctly for long-term growth, they are losing money by throwing that much money into a house they don't even need. They don't even need it. They could be in a house half that price, or even if they chose to rent, you know what I mean, and save money and maximize their investments.
There, though, JB, saying they probably don't need that much housing, but when is now the time to really move, because you probably can't find another spot that even you down.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be just probably as expensive where you are now.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying this person doesn't need all that space. So maybe that will happen. But because they're so extreme where they are and where they live, they're going to save regardless, because they're over mortgaged, they're over housed, they're over in debt. And we've been socialized that we have to do that we have to show the great big house as a way of showing how successful we are, when that person actually is in a better position than most people. So if they had 4 kids and a spouse and grandchildren and all of that, they could really maximize that mortgage they can maximize that mortgage because they're using all the space in the house. But if you look at square footage of use in the United States overall, don't use our square footage of our homes. So that means that there's a whole bunch of money that's being wasted. And when you factor in the returns of the residential real estate versus what they could have been doing in the investment market, then it really cuts their wealth down. And if you look at it from a Black wealth perspective, a lot of the reason that the wealth gap is so big is because we haven't focused on things for better long-term growth. Residential real estate, our percentage as a community is about the same. About half of Black people own homes, but we still have the wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger. So the equity, the residential real estate is not where it is. It's just,
So let me jump in and ask you this then, JB. So how do we close that wealth gap?
Well, we have to be more productive with our money. We have to stop buying the overpriced debt. We have to, and and these are research to back this up, that when Black people buy mortgages, we unfortunately don't even get the return on our investment in the residential real estate that other communities get because it's a Black neighborhood. If you took that same money, you put it in the investment market and you sold it, it doesn't matter. They don't know what color you are. They don't know what color my clients are when we buy stock. So but that's something that we just have not explored. You know what I mean? That we have to adjust, because if you put all your money in your house and you don't start a business, it's the same effect. When you have a business, you have, you know what I mean, a generations of income that you're passing on to another generation. When you don't have a business, or then you're passing on just a residential property, but most of the time, unfortunately, our people are dying with mortgages on their homes. So they don't even own that.
And of course, the increased taxes. A lot of folks are finding that out too. If never home to home,
and putting you out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got to pay. They got to pay taxes and insurance as well. You got to throw that in there as well. But you sort of nailed it when you talked about my friend, because he's in this tizzy about purchasing a home, and he feels like it's all emotional. He's got to do it. He's left behind. So he's looking all over to pick up a place. But
this lady told me.
Yeah.
I was saying, this lady told me one time there was this guy she liked, and they were both in their 60s, and she said, "But he don't even have a house." And I said, "Well, he's just finished a divorce." I said, "But does he really need a house?" She said, "Oh my God, everybody needs a house." I said, "No, everybody does not need a house." I said, "Before you decide that brother is broke, you need to look at his retirement account." Because he actually could have a higher net worth than her because he doesn't have the mortgages. So he could have pure assets. He could own his car, he could own his clothes, he could own everything. You know what I mean? Owe nobody nothing, have his own retirement account, and be way ahead of her with a $500,000 mortgage. That's up in value, say 600. And her phone.
That was JB. So that was one of the dating criteria.
For her was that he didn't have a house. Yeah.
Quite a few folks who don't have a home.
Amen. I see that a lot with people in their 60s, mostly men, and I admire that because they've had homes. They just have decided they don't want to be in debt anymore if they're by themselves.
All right, let's go there. At 60, is that a good age? Should you get back into the real estate market if you're 60 years old?
If you're going to, in this situation, they've decided that they want to be by themselves and they don't want to have debt. And they do want to save their money and invest and have the flexibility to travel and do what they want to do. Like, I saw an interview with Kanye West yesterday, and he was like, "I live in my backpack. I don't have no house." And I was like, but it's that freedom of You can still be wealthy without having to do it the way that you have been socialized, that these are the things that you have to do. You have to be stuck right here, and you have to put out the garbage every Tuesday. And then you have to live on this particular neighborhood, and it has to have a gate out front. And then, son, you're successful. Like, that's not, I don't think that that's for everybody. And I appreciate, when I see people that are focusing on financial freedom, not on things. We need to really focus on financial independence. I don't care if you're 30, you need to be financially independent. That's a gift.
How do we get that message that you just mentioned to our young people? Because I wish somebody had told me that when I was coming out of college. But go ahead.
We're getting it to them because you're giving me the opportunity to be on this show. I am not speaking the norm. What I am saying is not shared with our community enough, that we do not have to be materialistic, that we do not have to be in debt, that we can focus on our family and we can have good, good values, integrity, live out our dreams, own our businesses, work and be very professional. We can do anything that we want to do. We can do that. And that we're not told that. We're always told we got to buy this, buy that, this and that. But what my message is that we have to get ourselves into proximity of that which is good. We have to focus on freedom, financial freedom, living in integrity, and doing the right thing all the time, not just some of the time, doing it all the time. So if I don't have the money to buy it, I'm not going to put it on a credit card, period. We need to look at credit cards for consumer items as the enemy, because they are.
I saw a story recently about a rapper who rented a Bentley, and when he came back to return the car, he told me he didn't know where the car was. So he's on the hook now for $1 million. I guess it's that lifestyle that you feel that he's got to drive a Bentley instead of a Benz or a Beamer, but he had to have the Bentley and he couldn't afford it, so he rented it.
Yes.
These people who rent them because they're rappers. They come with cash. Many of them don't have credit cards. They come with cash. And 3 months cash up front. And then when they try to repossess the car, he says he doesn't know where it is.
Yeah.
So now they're suing him for $1 million. Your thoughts on that?
That I saw there's this white guy, was in like Rich or something like that, and he came out with this song called "Save My Money," and he was talking about when he does his videos that he goes up to people's houses and he just says, "Can I use your house?" Because I'm not going to pay to look like I'm rich. I mean, and he, and that's his whole theme, that I'm a college graduate. I don't have debt. I live below my means. And when I do my hip hop videos, that's not my car. That's not my house. That's not my chain. You know what I'm saying? It's sad because it's a white guy, but I thought that video is amazing. It's like, save my money, save that money. When you look it up, rich something. But I saw him also in a Chris Brown video. So I'm glad that he and Chris Brown know each other, because that's where we need to be, where we don't have to impress. And I think that, especially as an entrepreneur, we have that pressure.
JB, we got to take a short break. We're cruising to the top of the hour, so our stations need to identify themselves down the line. Stations like FM 95.9, AM 1450, WOL, where information is power.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too. Even threaten your home or business.
Right.
Don't take on the IRS alone.
World
if you
news.
owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can
I
do
hope
is
so.
call Optima Tax Relief. The experts at Optima
You are
IRS
OWLDC. How did I see World?
Are saving thousands.
Claiming it.
One
Thank you,
call
Mr.
starts the
Johnson.
process to help you stop the demand letters. Stop aggressive
Financial
collective
freedom
action,
is more
and stop the
important than
IRS from
things.
targeting you. But don't delay.
Make it a
It's
t-shirt.
important that you act now while you still have
Freedom.
options.
Be like
It will bring
Kanye.
with the
Me and
Better
Michael
Business
gonna live
Bureau,
out our
Optima gets
backpack.
results.
We're gonna
Having
be
resolved over $1
big.
billion of tax debt from clients, for tax help you need, for tax help you can trust,
Call Optima now for your free consultation.
So when you're gonna live out our backpack.
811-7033.
Your backpack, my backpack.
811-7033. 800-811-7033.
He said no.
Optima Tax Relief.
I'll visit his house.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit
Can't
OptimaTaxRelief.com.
hear you.
They say singing can help you remember things. So here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside.
Commercial.
Social and physical
It's coming.
distancing can help save lives.
Time flew by.
Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
WOL, Washington, D.C. W240DJ, Washington. 95.9 WMMJ, HD3, Bethesda. WKYS, HD3, Washington. WPRS, HD3, Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com. The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management. The Carl Nelson Show. You're rocking with the most ultimate on 1450 and 95.9. You're rocking with the most ultimate worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
Thank you for staying with us, folks. Momentarily, we're speaking with Gerald Sanders. Gerald is an activist, an author, businesswoman, a strategist. We're going to talk politics with Gerald, but right now let's finish up with financial advisor J.B. Bryan. So, J.B., I'm going to let you finish your thought. We sort of interrupt you when we move to the top of the hour.
I just want us to sum it all up that let's make sure that we get close to people that represent where we want to be, or where we are, or where we want to stay. I don't think that our ultimate success is sustainable until we get into proximity of the power that we're seeking. And if you want debt freedom, then focus on people who want to be debt free as well. If you want to have your dreams come true, you want to build yourself as a professional or as a business owner or as a spouse, you want to secure your family's financial future, get yourself into proximity of those who are also moving into that same direction. And that's why I feel that afroeconomics.com should be a part of all of our lives. There's a free membership. There's no excuse. We need to start supporting a positive mindset that there's not just one look of Black success. Black success is a complete satisfaction with yourself and where you're doing it your way. But we can't keep thinking that's what success looks like, because the look of success is changing and our young people are showing us that it's changing.
All right. JB, let me ask you this before I let you go, because in the next few days, all these ads are coming up for Thanksgiving,
right.
Christmas, these holidays,
right.
And a lot of folks are going to be seduced into going out and buying, gifts and all that kind of stuff. Well, what do you say to those people?
Don't do it.
How do they don't give in to
don't
even buy the Christmas card or a Christmas tree or something. What do you say to those folks?
Like, the beautiful thing about it is once you do it, like the first time I did it, I went to feed the homeless instead of getting my daughter gifts. I think I told y'all about that before. And once you do it and you live and you get past it, it changed her and it changed me. We have too many people that actually can't afford to take care of basic things in their life, and we're wasting stuff. Stop giving things just extra stuff that's going to be put in a closet, down on the floor. Focus on needs. Your kids need a coat, get them a coat, get them a shoe, get them a computer, get them a book, get them what they need. Once we've got the needs taken care of, we got to move away from the wants and start saving and investing for the future. We should not be going into debt. Never, ever. Nobody should go into debt for a holiday season.
Gotcha. Before we let you go, JB, How can folks reach you?
1-844-522-7926. That's my name, 844-JBBRYAN, or Google JB Bryan or afroeconomics.com, which is one word. But I'm just a Google away. And don't forget, your financial empowerment is very important to me. Very.
Thanks, JB. Thank you. And
Thank
thank you for
you.
sharing all that information with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, folks, we got this run. Let's move on to our next.
Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Don't forget Wednesday night. I'm here for you. Let's see. I'm going to play this. I'm JB Bryan, the creator of Afroeconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge,